Konstantin, you just won the A&W Design of the Year 2007 award by the German Architecture and Wohnen magazine. Congratulations. What do awards like these mean to you?
Well, I think they are awards in the sense of an honor or a kind of respect that is given, an encouragement, an appreciation. Is nothing you win in that kind of sense of a sport. I think it is the acknowledgement of a certain work that one has done over years. I appreciate it. I'm very flattered by such an award. It doesn't mean so much else. It will not change my career. It will not change my life.
Mm. Are there any other persons, or which kind of feedback do you like the most, and from which person?
Well, two kinds. One feedback is really that of other professionals, and that is I think it's, even though it is a narrow vision of an inner circle of people, it means something if a colleague, another designer, an architect makes a compliment to something I've done, and if that person is a colleague that I admire, his work, her work, then it means even more. The other kind is that of somebody who doesn't actually know me and doesn't know that I've designed this thing, and sometimes, unfortunately, very rarely, you come across a situation where somebody, you find somebody just in the moment of talking about something that you've done, or a person in a shop just at the moment of purchasing, buying something that you've designed. You come into somebody's house and there is something that they have bought without knowing it's by me. That for me is a huge compliment, and actually a nicer one. I think the attachment of name to product, kind of personality, hype in design is something nice. It's part of the game. It's something I don't want to miss, but it's not necessarily the kind of the. It's not necessarily what really matters.
The same magazine honored you, quotation, for your approach to everyday products based on the principle of new simplicity. Do you like this label, new simplicity?
Well, in a way, I was surprised to read this, because new simplicity, or in the German word would be neue Einfachheit. That is a terminology that I seem to remember from 10 years ago. It was really something of a certain time. I was surprised to hear this word again. It's like some kind of trend word that is used a lot in some years and then totally forgotten. Somebody seems to kind of have brought it up again, and I was a bit shocked, because it kind of then labels me as something as if 10 years ago. And I don't want to go into more detail of whether it is correct or not. Simplicity is great. I think simplicity is certainly one of the key elements or aspects of my work, a motivation for work, but simplicity in the sense of yes, making things simple, accessible, legible, but not making them too simple. And certainly this has nothing to do with a formalistic idea of simplicity, in the sense of that minimal is something that is square and angular. Minimal is something that maybe has been pared down from all the clutter and to something quite essential, and then it is beautiful, but that can still be very sensual and quite I don't know, even have a certain complexity, but simple in the sense of readable, approachable, something you see and you understand.
How would you yourself describe your style?
Well, if you call it a style, then I would try to kind of correct that, because a style means something of a language, of a kind of the signature, and maybe it's just a problem of language, that with style we think of a form, and then all look the same because it's one style. I think that my products are quite different, each one, and they turn out what they are because of a certain process of working, an approach, a search for trying to come to terms with that project, and in the end there is a form that looks like something. I think a lot of them look quite different one from the other, but certainly because they're all designed and made by me, they have something in common. I agree. I would say it's probably something of a red thread that goes through them, something that kind of reoccurs, more than a style. It is something that has to do with a certain way of thinking, even a certain preference that I have for. Now I should be more precise. I like industrial things, so I would say my work is industrial because I think about industry and production. What are the materials? How is it produced? I think they're also more constructed than sculpted. It's just simply because the way I approach the design, the form of something, it's rather more building something up from elements than kind of cutting away a block into a certain shape. I think they are probably quite rational in the sense that I really question a logic of how things are made, how they work, and how they look like, and what the look of the object means to the understanding of how it is used, and so on. So I think a kind of an inherent logic is also an aspect that is reoccurring in my work.